Rachel Reeves, Labour's Chancellor of the Exchequer, has unleashed a political whirlwind with her promise to root out government waste and enforce 5% efficiency savings across all departments. On the surface, this appears to be a pragmatic approach to ensuring the nation's money is spent wisely. Reeves has framed her plan as the antidote to years of Conservative mismanagement, claiming the cuts are necessary to redirect funds to key public services like housing, healthcare, and education. But beneath the polished rhetoric lies a simmering controversy that threatens to derail Labour's carefully crafted image as the party of progress and compassion. The announcement has drawn swift and fierce criticism from both sides of the political spectrum. To Labour supporters who remember the painful austerity of the 2010s, the idea of efficiency savings sounds suspiciously familiar. Reeves insists her approach is different, promising real-term increases in departmental budgets. Yet critics argue the language of efficiency often masks stealth cuts that hit the most vulnerable. The timing of this plan, set to culminate just before the next general election, has only added to the scepticism. The controversy doesn't end with the budget itself. Labour has set up a new task force, the Office for Value for Money, led by veteran civil servant David Goldstone, who previously worked on the London Olympics and HS2. This 20-strong team will scrutinise every corner of departmental spending in search of waste, inefficiency, and excess. Reeves has presented this as a smart, modern solution to the problem of public sector spending. But to her critics, it smacks of micromanagement, adding another layer of bureaucracy rather than addressing systemic issues in government. Conservatives have wasted no time attacking Reeves's plan. Shadow Treasury Minister Richard Fuller was scathing in his assessment, accusing Labour of pandering to union paymasters with inflation-busting pay rises while failing to implement productivity reforms. Fuller argued that Reeves's focus on trimming the fat won't solve deeper issues within the public sector. Liberal Democrat Treasury spokesperson Daisy Cooper echoed these concerns, warning that any cuts to social care funding would be a false economy that could put lives at risk. The Treasury, however, insists that this is not a return to the austerity policies of the past. Reeves has vowed to protect frontline services and focus cuts on wasteful spending alone, but her refusal to rule out future tax hikes has raised eyebrows, with many wondering if Labour's promises are simply a stopgap measure to tide them over until the next election. The party has already implemented a £40 billion tax hike this year to address what Reeves called a £22 billion black hole left by the Conservatives. While she claims further increases are not planned, her reluctance to offer guarantees has only fueled speculation. Amid this financial firestorm, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has found himself embroiled in an entirely different kind of controversy. Starmer's recent trip to Saudi Arabia and the UAE, intended to drum up foreign investment, has sparked outrage among activists and political opponents. Starmer returned from the Middle East, touting the creation of 4,000 new jobs thanks to Saudi investments, but the optics of his meeting with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman have overshadowed any economic gains. The Crown Prince, widely accused of orchestrating the brutal murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, remains a deeply polarizing figure on the world stage. Activists and human rights organizations have slammed Starmer for prioritizing economic diplomacy over moral accountability. Hanan Elater Khashoggi, the widow of the slain journalist, publicly urged Starmer to confront the Crown Prince about her husband's death. However, Starmer remained focused on economic partnerships, a decision that has left a bitter taste for many. The backlash didn't stop there. Critics have accused Starmer of hypocrisy, pointing to his previous condemnation of Boris Johnson for engaging with controversial foreign leaders. Starmer had lambasted Johnson for going cap in hand from dictator to dictator, yet now finds himself walking a similarly precarious line. While Starmer's defenders argue that economic growth necessitates tough choices, the Prime Minister's silence on Saudi Arabia's human rights abuses has sparked questions about Labour's commitment to its core values. During his visit, Starmer also announced a long-term defence partnership with Saudi Arabia, focusing on combat air capabilities. The deal, which is expected to last for generations, has been framed as a win for UK jobs and security. Yet the timing of this announcement, against the backdrop of regional tensions and the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict, has only added to the controversy. Meanwhile, another political firestorm has erupted back home in Parliament, where a debate over first-cousin marriages has reignited cultural and ethical tensions. Conservative MP Richard Holden introduced a bill to ban the practice, citing overwhelming medical evidence linking it to increased birth defects. Holden argued that cousin marriages are not only medically risky, but also exploitative in many cases. Independent MP Iqbal Mohammed, however, delivered a fiery defence of the practice, arguing that it strengthens family bonds and provides financial stability in certain communities. Mohammed, a pro-Gaza advocate, warned Parliament against imposing cultural norms that fail to consider the traditions of diaspora communities. His comments have sparked a polarising debate, with critics accusing him of defending outdated and harmful customs. Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick threw his weight behind Holden's bill, declaring cousin marriages have no place in modern Britain. Jenrick highlighted the moral and medical case for outlawing the practice, calling on Labour to take a firmer stance. But Labour's response has been muted, with the party reluctant to alienate key voter demographics. This hesitation has only added to perceptions of a leadership unwilling to take decisive action. The cousin marriage debate has laid bare deep divisions within Parliament, exposing cultural and generational rifts that are often left unspoken. Proponents of the ban argue that public health must take precedence over tradition, while opponents warn that such legislation risks marginalising already vulnerable communities. As the debate rages on, Labour's cautious approach has left it caught in the crossfire. Taken together, these controversies paint a picture of a Labour Party walking a political tightrope. Rachel Reeves's spending review has ignited fears of austerity, while Keir Starmer's Saudi diplomacy has raised questions about Labour's priorities. The cousin marriage debate, meanwhile, threatens to deepen cultural divides and further alienate parts of the electorate. Labour has long prided itself on being the party of the people, but these scandals have exposed cracks in its carefully managed image. Reeves's promises of efficiency and smart spending risk being overshadowed by accusations of stealth cuts. Starmer's focus on economic growth, while pragmatic, has left many wondering if Labour is sacrificing its values for short-term gains. And the party's reluctance to take a firm stance on contentious cultural issues risks alienating voters on all sides. As the next general election looms, the stakes couldn't be higher for Labour. Can Reeves's budgetary vision win over a sceptical public, or will the shadow of austerity cost the party dearly? Can Starmer justify his Middle East strategy in the name of jobs and growth, or will voters hold him accountable for perceived moral compromises? And how will Labour navigate the treacherous waters of cultural and ethical debates that continue to divide the nation? For now, Labour's future hangs in the balance, with each controversy threatening to tip the scales. One thing is certain: the fallout from these scandals is far from over, and the political drama will only intensify as the election draws closer.